Yes. So let me first introduce Dr. Theresa Tam, the Chief Public Health Officer of Canada. Theresa.
Thank you very much, Kate, and I'd like to thank the US, the European Union, and Brazil for putting this panel together. And I certainly share concerns with the other panelists on the reemergence of vaccine-preventable diseases and the need to promote vaccine confidence. In Canada, we have less than optimal vaccine coverage, but the coverage is pretty high still. Only about 1.3% of parents have never had their kids vaccinated, so we know that there's quite a large and a vast majority of parents who believe in vaccination. So we're looking at pockets of under-vaccination. As we all know, you've all got your cell phones, and all of us look online for information when we need to know about something. But the problem is sifting through mountains of information and not knowing where that information comes from. And seeds of doubt can be sown very rapidly by these sources. And so what we know is that online information can have very significant real-life impacts and consequences, some of which you have heard. And it's not just a domestic issue, but it reverberates globally. And something said in Canada can result in a negative impact in another country, for example. So as the Chief Public Health Officer of Canada, I actually made vaccine hesitancy a priority. And just recently, I saw an opportunity to really escalate this issue because we had a cluster, which was actually very tiny. So it was like 14 cases in British Columbia. That was enough to ignite significant public discourse and journalists' interests. So I took that opportunity to just call all the social media platforms, because, well, if not now, when? So I sort of picked up the phone and called Twitter and Facebook and Google and that type, all of these companies. We also did a analysis just on the Twitter platform to show what's actually going on. So what we found is that, as many of you might have also seen, a very small number of individuals actually do every day, every minute, is spreading misinformation in a massive way. So you on the map, you see all these lines going over the place. It's just a few people. The Public Health Agency and maybe other public health organizations have a tiny footprint. You know, we're not connected. We're not spreading things around very well at all. And there are bots at play. So bots are retweeting things blindly, essentially, and spreading information. So that's our situation when we looked at it. And so, so I called together this social media group, but at the same table are parents who've had lived experience with vaccine-preventable diseases or have changed their minds about vaccination over time. I invited parenting experts who are parent influencers, educators, and obviously experts, but also journalists, to have a really good discussion about what can we do. And so, but the first thing was that we recognize we have a common goal, which is the health and well-being of children. Everyone has the same goal. And trust is the underlying issue. And so in order to rebuild trust between parents, individuals, and their healthcare providers, we need to build environments where parents actually feel that they're heard and that their questions are going to be addressed. And the panel that I pulled together highlighted new forms of online media engagement. We need to up our game, basically, as public health people and get engaged in more novel ways, and science literacy, science and digital literacy. So digital literacy begins by realizing that the information online is created by someone with an agenda, someone with an objective. You need to know who made it and why they made it. So some of these fundamental questions need to be taught to kids at school or to parents or grandparents who didn't grow up in this internet age. So we are working with Twitter on an initiative that will have users presented with accurate information on vaccines if the user searches certain hashtags, such as vaccination or anti-vaccine or those kind of things. Then the Public Health Agency's website pop up. I know that they've done similar initiatives with other entities as well. We've also had a discussion with Facebook on how we can collaborate on removing information that has been scientifically disproven or debunked. So Facebook is currently working with the WHO, with the US CDC, and essentially trying to work with us to so they'll need some experts to actually say, is this misinformation? If it's scientifically proven to be misinformation, there's an opportunity for them to actually remove that information. And we're also working with Google and others. And so I think that a lot of people criticize social media companies for not doing enough, but I think that we're all trying to figure out what more we can do together. So another thing that I thought about is a coalition of public health partners so that we can retweet and read forward our collective information in the same way that the anti-vaccination group has been doing. And this could be an international collaboration as well. We need to collaborate across government departments because there are other government departments sort of interested in impacts on the elections, impacts on combating extremism, for example. And we can't all go to these social media platforms left, right, and center. We need to have a more cohesive approach. And so the government of Canada invested $25 million just recently to increase vaccination coverage rates. And we set up this fund called the Immunization Partnership Fund, and in order to identify the pockets of under-immunization, in order to have much more targeted interventions, because we realize that in the Canadian context at least, these small pockets are all very different. Some of them are religious communities that need their questions answered in a certain way. Some of them are schools with parents who believe in a certain perspective. And so another project that I thought was interesting to just highlight finally is a project called Kids Boost, or Kids Boost Immunity. Started in BC. It's a school-based online platform that uses gamification, so turn it into something fun for learning to raise student literacy around the importance of vaccines. And the winnings that they get leads to vaccines being donated to UNICEF. And this is really caught on. So as of September 2018, nearly 2,300 students earned over 21,000 vaccines for UNICEF. So there's lots of different innovative ideas that we're hearing, and maybe the key is to sort of collaborate on lessons learned and maybe some of the innovative ideas. Thank you.
Thanks, Dr. Tam. I'm gonna zoom down now to the other end of the table.